This MMA content is proudly brought to you by the AllStar app, a fully customizable ad-free sports experience. Download it now.
Are you a guy that kind of follows the news of like the MMA cycle like daily or even just weekly?
A little bit. Why? What are you referring to, Colby and Masvidal?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Masvidal situation, it's
I don't know all the details, but Colby probably had it coming. The
well,
guy's a fucking shit talker, dude. He's a piece of shit.
yeah, that's I guess that's the justification of the attack that's happening. There's two sides. There's the side of people saying like, oh, they had 25 minutes in the cage to handle the animosity and all that stuff. But then on the flip side, you got people saying that you shouldn't say anything about people's kids, and certain guys,
Yeah,
their family is number one, and we've been seeing that recently, even with the Kane situation, right? Kane,
yeah.
he went on the deep end with that.
Um, yeah. The thing with Kane is really fucked up because a judge let that pedophile go on zero bail to live in a house with his mother who runs a daycare who had already abused a kid at the fucking daycare. So in my eyes, that judge is responsible. That judge needs his or her fucking ass kicked, right? That motherfucker needs to go. And the thing with Colby just runs his fucking mouth, man. That dude just doesn't know how to shut the hell up sometimes. So he deserves it too. That's why I feel.
And it's not the first time, which is pretty nuts, right? It's
No, it's not the first time, but and every time Colby talks shit and then shit gets real, he calls the cops, right? So it's like who, like you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
yeah,
I'm gonna I'm gonna
yeah,
keep my mouth shut.
yeah, yeah,
Or say something
There's a
too
lot
mean.
of people, man, I've talked to that Colby has talked about in the media, and they don't take it kindly. I mean, they think it's something that's serious. And especially like even someone like Poirier that expressed that I don't want to
Yeah,
fight
which
this guy. I want to fight this dude. I want to see this guy like in the street, and that's what Poirier
yeah.
did.
Yeah, because Kobe, like, I don't know, Kobe thinks it's a game, man, but there's people out there that aren't playing it. I'll tell you what, if Kobe was talking that shit to me or somebody with my family, I'd fuck his ass up too. He'd take a baseball bat to the back of the head. Fuck that guy. I'll ruin his life. You know what I mean? Like, so he just needs to learn how to shut the fuck up sometimes, honestly. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there's trash talk and and like attacking someone's skills and how they look, but yeah, there's a line, man. Some people cannot cross with certain
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and when they have a fight, him talking shit is whatever, right? Because that's for the fight, sell the fight, whatever. But when it's outside and it's personal and it's in, you know what I mean? It's outside of fighting. That's totally different. But I don't think Kobe understands that because he's just so sheltered within his own little world. You know what I mean? He's got his own little thing going and he believes his own bullshit. So this is what happens.
Yeah, I guess he's created this animal that is out of control now, and
Yeah, and he doesn't even know how to like he doesn't know how to deal with his own bullshit that he puts upon himself, right? And then he does what he does, and then he acts like a little beta and calls the cops, right? When the shit gets real. So I don't know, man. And then him calling out Poirier, it's like to me that's a super coward move too, because it's like Poirier is for one in a lower weight class, and two, what is even his beef with Poirier, right? It's not like Poirier ever talks shit about him or anything, right? You know what I mean? It's like, don't you want the belt, Kobe? Or are you afraid of Usman that you're just going to be fighting dudes in lower weight classes now? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. He's just a bitch to me. Like he's a good fighter, right? I respect him as a fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a good wrestler, but he's a bitch personally.
yeah, without a doubt, he's a good fighter, a really good fighter. I mean, he's not at
Yeah,
the top of the division for nothing. Now
yeah.
let's turn the attentions to something more positive. You
Okay.
and your situation, man, in Colorado. I believe this is your second camp,
Yeah, my
and
second full camp here at Factory
yeah,
X in
at Factory
Colorado,
X.
and I'm loving it.
Yeah, and it's been about a almost a year of you living out there.
A little over a year actually. I moved
Okay.
out here in last year. March 1st was actually the day that I moved out here. So yeah, March 1st was my year mark out here, and March 9th was actually my 10-year mark in the UFC that I just realized too.
Wow,
So that was like another cool thing that happened this year for me
that's
because I got what.
that's a massive achievement, man. To be with the UFC for
Yeah,
10 years.
I know, and I mean, I've had a lot of time off because of injuries and life stuff, but I mean, I could have been cut like anybody else, right? But I wasn't for whatever reason. So, you know, what I mean, I super appreciate the UFC for sticking with me and you know, what I mean, letting me deal with my life stuff and come and fight when I need to.
you mentioned the injuries that you had to deal with throughout the years, but now it seems like you're hitting your prime at 39 years old, dude. That's crazy, right?
Ain't that some shit? Yeah, for real, man. And I'm only getting better too, right? And I mean, I had that one camp at Factory Expo when I fought Hubbard, and people already saw a big improvement, right, in my footwork and stuff, which I already had pretty good footwork, but it just got that much better. And I've been working on that a lot and adding a bunch of little things here and there too. So when I fight Madsen, you guys are going to see an even more evolved fighter.
Without revealing too much, you know what I mean? What are those little things?
Just footwork stuff. I've been working a lot on my wrestling and a lot of my footwork. Those are the two things that I've been really putting emphasis on here over at Factory X. And it's not that I'm not a good wrestler. I'm a pretty decent wrestler, but it is kind of like my weakest link of the Bermuda Triangle, as I call it, MMA, of jiu-jitsu, striking, and wrestling, right? So wrestling was definitely my weakest link, but I've been working on a lot, and my wrestling is looking really good, and I'm actually competing with guys who are actual wrestlers now in wrestling. So I'm super confident in my skills and where I'm going with it right now, and especially being at Factory X with Mark Madsen and the boys. I just love it here, man.
Yeah, and you got some big boys that are straight up wrestlers that you could wrestle
Yeah,
every day.
yeah. We got some big boys, then we got some guys who are like we have a couple guys who are like Olympic athlete, like
Mhm.
Olympic level wrestlers, right? Greco and freestyle. So those guys have really been helping me a lot and teaching me little tips and tricks and getting me where I need to be, especially for this fight against Madsen, because I'm pretty sure he's just going to try to fight me like Greg Gillespie did, right? He's not going to want to strike with me. He's just going to try to wrestle the whole time.
And you know, one aspect that I always ask about people that move to Colorado, to Denver, around that area, is the altitude and training out there. Did it have an effect, you know, when you were fighting Austin Hubbard?
Yeah, I mean, I wore Austin Hubbard out, right? And he's the guy that usually wears people out, and he's also 10 years younger than me too. So yeah, it definitely made a big difference. And I'm already known for my cardio and my ability to just push other guys right to the limit that they don't pass their limits. So being out here honestly just gave me a little more power in that aspect of my fighting game. And I mean, I honestly don't know what Madsen's gonna do. I don't know how he's gonna deal with me. Honestly, I feel like he got a really short straw this time around. I'm not sure. I don't know what else to say.
This matchup with Madsen, you know, it was supposed to happen at 271 in February, and then they pushed it to 273, which is happening in early April.
Yeah,
What
he
happened with
actually
that?
he actually pulled out of the fight for an injury, but I don't know what injury it was or if he was injured. I'm not sure if he had something going on in his life or what, but he allegedly pulled out because of an injury. And then a week later, they're like, "Hey, Madsen's good again." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's schedule it." And they're like, "Hey, we're not the 273," which I'm stoked about too because the first UFC I was ever on was UFC 173. So here I am 100 UFCs later, and then I'm going to fight Madsen, right? And it's a big opportunity for me. So I'm super excited to go out there and take what's mine.
Yeah, it is a huge opportunity actually, because it seems like they're kind of trying to build somebody like him, you know, a guy undefeated record, Olympian, you know, they're trying to push that. And
Yeah,
then
of course.
you're riding on this win streak, and I think it's like a battle of whoever wins this is going to get a decent name in that top 15.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's basically what it's going to come down to. I think I'm top 15, top 10 already, right? But I mean, I got no problem fighting whoever they want me to fight. So Madsen's the guy in my way right now, so I'm just gonna have to knock him over before I get past him.
Yeah, and the undefeated stigma and you know the Olympian, it must
Yeah,
be
yeah,
good.
yeah. I want that. I want to take that out from him, right? I want to be his first loss, and then I want his wrestling credentials, right? I want to beat him and show that I could deal with these wrestlers because my only two losses are two wrestlers, right? And one guy was a Greco, a Sambo guy, and the other guy was Greg Gillespie. So I definitely got something to prove in this fight, and that's my goal.
When you look at his arsenal, his other, you know, aspects of his game, you know, what sticks out to you?
Nothing. This dude, he's a one-trick pony. He's got wrestling, and that's it. His striking's amateur. He's not really a threat in jiu-jitsu, right? So, like he's got a tougher fight than I do. I feel right. He's like I said, he's just a one-trick pony. Where I'm a jack of all trades, and I'm well-rounded. I have skills. I'm dangerous everywhere, whether it's on my back or standing up. So, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna knock this dude's head off.
Sometimes guys come into the game a little too late, you know what I mean? Because he's not a young guy either, you know. He's in his
Yeah,
late
how is he?
30s,
Was he 36?
37.
37. Yeah. I mean, it's not like he has a whole lot to catch up on, right? Because he has his wrestling credentials, but yeah, definitely he did start kind of a little bit late, right? Because he's only got 3 fights in the UFC. He's got 10 fights total. A little late, but I don't know who am I to say, right? Because I'm 39, shit, and I'm still going. And I didn't start training until I was 25, so it's kind of just different strokes for different folks. It depends on the person and their learning abilities. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not really trying to take anything away from them, except for that. Oh,
Well, 10 years in the UFC is a lot of experience compared to, any pretty much, anybody. There's certain guys that, only last like 2 fights. I feel sorry for certain guys that come into the UFC and they only fight in the apex and get cut, like, and they never return.
yeah, yeah, man. And honestly, like, geez, like that's super situational, right? Depending on the guy and his fighting style, whatnot. But man, sometimes like the UFC. I'm not saying that it's just the UFC because it's not just UFC, but there's definitely that first fight UFC jitters. You know what I mean? We all experienced it. I experienced it. It's definitely a real thing. But it's really tough, right? And I think the aspect that most people don't know about or people don't really put too much of an emphasis on is the mental strategy, right? Like you have to be mentally just unbreakable, man, to just walk in there and not let that kind of stuff, deter you. But that's a really hard thing to do, and it's very rare that happens. You see a lot of guys who come in there in their first fight and just get starched, and then you see a lot of guys who come in their first fight and beat dudes like Dan Hooker, right, like that last guy did. So or Alan is Alan, right? His name's Alan. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it kind of, like I said, it depends on the person and your mental capabilities because that's man, we're all fighters and we're all in shape and we could all fight, right? But if you're a little midget upstairs, it don't matter what the hell you can do.
Entering a fight week, right? Every single time, do you have to prepare yourself, on the mental side to think like, man, anything could happen, and I have to like push through all of that because if I let anything distract me, it's gonna just affect the fight.
No, not really. And if I'm honest, fight week, I totally distract myself. I'm not the kind of guy who sits there and just dwells on the fight all week, right? Like I train and I do my thing, but and then I'm just bullshitting with my coaches, right? We hang out. I like to have a good time. I don't like to be so stressful, because like the fight's stressing enough. So why am I going to stress more than one time over something? You know what I mean? It's almost like killing yourself twice with it, Like if I'm going to stress about it the whole time, then stress in the fight, like my nerves are probably already shot by that time. So typically the fight week stuff is cool. And I'm friends with a lot of the suits, and a lot of people that run the UFC because I've been there forever, right? So like honestly, I just have a good time with everyone there. And I just embrace the fun and the people there and have fun with everyone who I get to be around, you know what I mean? Because it's not like I get to hang out them every day. So I always try to just spend some time with people there. And there are some times where some people don't appreciate me, like the equipment guys. But
Why is
yeah,
that?
for the most part, I try to have a good time.
Why the equipment guys don't appreciate you?
I don't know. I talk shit because I'll tell you the story about the last time. So when I fought Austin Hubbard, I was coming down the stairs to go weigh in, right? And I'm on weight and I'm agitated already. I'm at that point, right? And then so I walk downstairs and I have my hat on. And then I walk down. The guy's like, "Okay, you can't wear that hat." He told me I couldn't. Oh, I had a mask on my hat. He goes, "You can't wear your mask and you can't wear your hat." And I'm like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Because it's not Venom or UFC gear." And I'm like, "Well, this says my name on it. It's not like I'm supporting a company. It's my name. So, you know what I mean? My initials are on the mask, only VP, and then from Help You Show, my name on here." So I'm like, "I don't understand that." So he's like, you know what I mean, talking shit. And then he's like, "Well, do you have underwear on too?" And I was like, "No, I don't wear underwear." And I was like, "Oh, actually, I do have underwear." And I pull it up and it's the Reebok underwear, which they gave me right at that moment. He goes, "Oh yeah, you can't wear that either." I'm like, "The fuck you talking about? You gave it to me to wear. This is what I'm wearing, all the shit you gave me to wear, besides my hat and my mask." So he's like, "Yeah, you can't wear that. You got to wear some Venom underwear." So I'm like, "Whatever. You guys are fucking stupid, right?" So I just said, "Fuck you," and I turned around and walked back to my hotel room. I looked through my bags, and not one piece of fucking Venom underwear is in any of my bags. Not my bag, not my coach's bags. None of the equipment bags that they give me had any kind of Venom underwear in it, right? So now I'm pissed. Now I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna go up there with my dick hanging out. You know what I mean? What do they want me to do? Because I don't wear underwear. I'm a free baller. I don't wear underwear at all. And so I'm walking back downstairs and I'm pissed off, right? I'm cussing out loud to myself to this fucking guy. And then when I get almost to him, I realize I forgot my sweatshirt and hoodie and shit to bring to the Apex. It's cold as fuck in there. So, and I got no meat on my bones, right? So I'm cold. So I'm like, fuck. And I get even more pissed because I have to go back to my hotel room, walk all the way back, get my shit, come back down. And then I come back down and I'm like, dude, I don't have any fucking underwear. You guys didn't give me no fucking underwear. Like, fuck you, give me your underwear, right? Like, just give me your underwear. And then he's like, oh, I don't have any underwear. I don't have any underwear. And I'm like, what do you expect me to fucking do? You know what I mean? Like, fuck you guys. And then I don't know. I was unreasonable at this point, right? I was a little too unreasonable, I guess I would say. But my coach is like, come on, let's just go. We'll get some stuff there, right? So I go there and they give me some underwear and then I'm cool. And then, later I apologize to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, man. Like, I just don't like being told fucking what to do, how to act, walk, talk, act, or wear. You know what I mean? Like that shit doesn't. I just don't like that kind of thing, right? And I think it's stupid that I can't wear my own hat that has my own name on it because I used to be able to until these fucks came around. So that was just it, right? And so a funny story about that is, so I apologized to him, and then the next day at fight day, we're in the our workout room, and I'm kind of just working out a little bit, and I'm sitting down, and he comes in, and he's like, oh, and he like makes eye contact with me, right? So I didn't say anything to him, and I'm not being mean to him at this point, right? Because I'm like, damn, that was a bit much for me, right? My attitude. And so he comes in and he's like putting shit on the counter, our gear and stuff, right? And he's like looking over, like watching me, right? Like I'm gonna just jump on his back and beat the fuck out of him or something, right? And so I don't say nothing, and then he walks out, and then one of my coaches turns and looks at me, and he's like, and I just started laughing, right? Because I like his language. He was so afraid to be in there. You could tell how awkward he felt to be in there with us. And so one of my coaches looks at me, he's like, what the fuck was that about? I just started laughing. And then Coach Mark like tells him the story, right? And then we all kind of just laugh about it. And then later on, I went and apologized to him some more too. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Yada yada. I was fucking pissed. That was a little much. I should have controlled myself better, right? And he's like, oh no, I understand. I was like, no, I'm sorry, man. Like that was fucked up. I shouldn't have been like that. That's fucked up. Right. So I felt real bad. I apologized to the guy, but
There
man,
you
I
go.
fucking
Underwear
dude.
gate.
Bullshit rules.
He probably went home that night after you just read them out and probably was just, reaming someone else out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
his pillow might have been soggy that night. I don't know.
you've been in the UFC for a while, so like you were there when Bert Watson was there, right?
Yes.
You must miss him, right? That energy, like during
Yeah,
fight
Bert
week.
had really good energy, and I loved having Bert there because I mean, when you hear him just go, "We rolling," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his energy is always just so good and so big, and you know what I mean? He's not a big guy, but his energy is huge, and you could feel him just being in the room with him. So I love people like Bert. He's a really nice guy, and I'm sad that he's gone, but I'm glad that he's doing good still.
Yeah, for sure. Man, going back to the fight, man, Madsen, it's a big spot. What are you expecting in this fight? How you expect to take him out?
Just punch him in the face until he can't take anymore, honestly. I'm expecting him to just try to wrestle me and come in like a drone like he did against Guida and just try to clinch grapple me, right? Like that's basically his thing. And this fucking douche even made a post and tagged me, and it's something about throwing me around and throwing my mustache around or something like that. So, you know what I mean? I just told him stay healthy because he's not getting away from me. But when it comes crunch time, I'm just going to be throwing punches in this dude's face, moving like I do, and showing him he doesn't belong in there with me.
Man, April 9th, you're back in action, UFC 273, Jacksonville, back in front of fans, all of that good stuff. Thank you, Vince, man. Always appreciate your time.
And just under my yearly fight too.
Yeah.
Just a shade under a year.
Hey, why did the UFC just take too long to like get back at you with another fight after Austin, or did you just decide to take a little bit of time?
No, I had a couple injuries. And I got I got some PRP shots. And then I was kind of like nursing those injuries and making sure I was good before I came back. And then geez, where was I? I think I was out in Texas partying with Alex Hernandez when I got the call for Madsen, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's take that. You know what I mean? And I think at that point I wasn't really 100% yet, right? I was still kind of going through my therapy and whatnot, but I was at the cusp of basically being back to 100%. So I was like, yeah, let's take that. And then he got pulled out because of an injury. And then a week later, they're like, what's up? You got Madsen again. So I was like, hell yeah, the universe owes me, and I'm going to take that shit.